Today for Full Album Friday, we're going to check out one of my all-time favorite records. We're going back to 1965 to look at Otis Redding's Otis Blue. When it comes to the true giants of soul music, almost nobody can stand on their own next to Otis Redding, and this is without question his finest album. All across this record, you see how perfectly he can perform every single sub-style of the soul sound, and it's the way that Otis Redding is able to blend them together that makes him like nobody else. From a deep, soft, soulful sound to almost a rock soul sound, to dabblings in funk, it's all here and it's all exceptional. Along with this, you can hear this album influencing artists from across the musical styles with this record. And it's not only the music you can hear him influencing, but you also find a lot of his own influences on Otis Blue. This album features covers of everything from Wonderful World to My Girl to the Rolling Stones' I Can't Get No Satisfaction, which ironically enough was written by the band as a tribute to Otis Redding. You'll also find the original version of the song Respect here, which Otis Redding wrote, and you can hear where Aretha Franklin got a lot of her musical choices. But perhaps the finest and most telling moment on this record is his cover of Sam Cooke's classic A Change Gonna Come, because there's no question that if there was one man who had a massive influence on Otis Redding, it was Sam Cooke. Along with Otis's work, you must check out the lineup because the group of musicians on this record is nothing short of phenomenal. It all starts with the band leader and the main producer on Otis Blue, a young man by the name of Isaac Hayes. Along with him, you have guitarist Steve Cropper, who would later go on to be the frontman for Booker T and the MGs and is without question one of the greatest guitar players in history. And then you have the rhythm section of bassist Donald Duck Dunn and none other than drummer Al Jackson Jr., better known as the Human Timekeeper. From end to end, you have Otis Redding bringing his trademark gritty soul sound, and if you've only heard it once or twice, you need to hear it in the entirety of an album to truly appreciate it. And on Otis Blue, he sounds stronger and more comfortable than he ever did on any other record. And he's able to bring this humanity, this honesty that you rarely find anywhere else from any genre. It's the way that the music can both sway and sting on this album that makes it such a great record, and it's also the subtlety in the music and the vocals that can sometimes catch you off guard that they're so good but seem to come out of nowhere. And it's the small vocal inflections that Otis Redding does here and there that are sometimes the most beautiful moments of his career. It's the way that all of these elements come together so seamlessly that make this album such an exceptional musical moment. And whether it's the horns working so perfectly with the other instruments, or the vocals and the lyrics coming together so perfectly with that sound, there's just a feeling of completion and chemistry here that you don't find elsewhere. So many later artists took huge parts of their sound, if not their entire sound, from Otis Redding. And you have to remember, this album comes out in 1965, so it is well ahead of anything resembling the explosion of soul music. And you can really see this as the blueprint for nearly every single soul subgenre ever. Sure, you might know the name Otis Redding from his handful of amazing timeless hits, but if you don't spin Otis Blue on a regular basis, you're really missing out on one of the greatest moments of music history. So if you don't own this, make sure you change that right now. Thank me later.